Well, let's talk more about the Epstein files. Bring in SABC News correspondent Sherwin Bryce-Pease joining us from New York tonight. Sherwin, so despite some reporting, it would appear that while a dinner was arranged with former President Jacob Zuma during that official state visit to the UK, this was done by an Epstein associate, Mark Lloyd, I believe, that Epstein had facilitated certain invitations to that dinner, but that Epstein was not himself there.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jeffrey Epstein was part of the facilitation of a potential meeting with President Zuma while he was on a state visit to London, which the Zuma Foundation will not confirm actually took place. But based on the emails, we can surmise that at least there was, at the very least, an attempt to have a dinner. But certainly from the emails, we understand that a dinner took place with President Zuma. Why Epstein Tembekele couldn't be there is that in 2019, July of 2019, he began serving, well, I believe he was released from prison after serving an 18-month prison term in relation to prostitution. He was released from prison in July of 2009 and then placed on probation in the state of Florida for 1 year, including house arrest until August of 2010. Which means it's impossible for Jeffrey Epstein to have been in London while he was serving that house arrest probation until August of that year. So the March 5th meeting, that Friday meeting at the end of then President Zuma's state visit to London, could not have included Jeffrey Epstein. What we can still potentially ask Mzolele Manye about is whether former President Zuma actually met anyone called Vera at that meeting.
And Sherwin, as with previous tranches of documents released as part of the Epstein files by the Justice Department, this latest one also mentions a number of other high-profile people from various parts of the world even, and many of them have again dismissed that they were involved in any criminality, even distancing themselves from Epstein's crimes altogether.
Yeah, there was a movie film documentary released on Friday called Melania. It was directed by a film director known as Bill Ratner. Bill Ratner's in the list, the Epstein files. Elon Musk is there. I mean, he doesn't need much introduction. Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, Sergey Brin, the Google co-founder, Steve Tisch, the owner of the New York Giants, Melania and current President Donald Trump, Bill and Hillary Clinton. So the who's who of sort of the global political elite was certainly very familiar with Jeffrey Epstein, but all, if not most if not all, deny that they were aware of his criminal undertakings and involvements, and very much distanced themselves from any of the malfeasance and nefarious allegations that have been certainly labeled and surrounded Epstein, despite his suicide in 2019. So a who's who of everybody is in those files. Doesn't mean they're responsible or did anything unlawful, but it certainly puts them in proximity to someone who is seen in that light.
And I want us to talk about something else that's got the US President Donald Trump hot under the collar in the last few hours. Trevor Noah, a joke that he told about Jeffrey Epstein at the Grammys last night. Let's have a listen to what exactly Trevor Noah said, and then we'll pick up with you, Sherwin.
Song of the Year. Congratulations, Billie Eilish. Wow. That is a Grammy that every artist wants, almost as much as Trump wants Greenland. Which makes sense. I mean, because Epstein's island is gone, he needs a new one to hang out with Bill Clinton. So, oh, I told you it's my last year. What are you going to do about it? Song of the Year. Congratulations.
So, Sherwin, what is Donald Trump going to do about it then?
Well, he's threatening to sue Trevor Noah. I went to bed at about 10 p.m. local time on the East Coast. The Grammys ended around 11 p.m. Donald Trump tweeting at 1 a.m. East Coast time that the Grammy Awards are the worst, virtually unwatchable. CBS is lucky that it's not going to have this garbage on any longer. The host, Trevor Noah, quote, whoever he may be, is also as bad as Jimmy Kimmel. Noah said incorrectly about me that Donald Trump and Bill Clinton spent time on the Epstein's island. Wrong. I can't speak for Bill, but I have never been to Epstein's island or anywhere close. And until tonight's false and defamatory statement, have never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. Noah is a total loser. Better get his facts straight and get them straight fast. It looks like I'll be sending my lawyers to sue this poor, pathetic, talentless dope of an MC. So President Trump's threatening to sue Trevor Noah for those remarks, but there is something called the First Amendment in the United States, free speech. So it's certainly going to be a high bar in terms of getting however many billions he will sue for.
Well, at the very least, a stinging television review from the US president. For now, Sherwin, we'll leave it there. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, a man in New York, keeping an eye now on the latest between US President Donald Trump and Trevor Noah. Will Trump sue or not over that Epstein joke that was told at the Grammys last night?